am I charging enough, and is my marketing budget healthy enough? And you really do want that to be healthy so that you can build a really robust pipeline. Hey, welcome back to Builder Funnel TV, and in this video we are going to talk about how much you should be spending on marketing for your construction business. Now, this is an interesting topic. I was doing a little bit of research. I think it's always interesting to see what kind of the global levels are. According to the SBA, they basically say, hey, if you're under 5 million in sales, you should be at about 7 to 8% of revenue for your marketing spend. And they said, hey, you might be able to push up towards the 8 to 12% range, but that 7 to 8% is kind of where they see as just kind of a macro global level recommendation. For our industry, I see that as being a little bit different. So we need to kind of break up things a little bit. And so what we're seeing in kind of the remodeling or design build or custom build space, you might be in that 3 to 5% range. So lower than that recommendation by the SBA. However, if you're a specialty trade, windows, siding, roofing, fencing, you might be 8 to 12%. So you actually might be a little bit above that range. And so it really depends on the type of business you are. And of course, they're all ranges, and these are just general recommendations. But those, as we kind of split them apart, I think are two good ranges as we break apart the industry. So what I found is that you've got to establish a marketing budget. And this is something that I think gets overlooked because you go into the new year, you maybe created a budget or you've kind of considered it. And a lot of times marketing gets pushed to the side. And I see a lot of businesses that have gotten by with word of mouth, referral, as kind of their primary marketing strategy for many, many years. And so marketing is typically a super small percentage of that, 1% or even less. I've seen people at 0.5%. And it's kind of this badge of honor. Like, I don't spend anything on marketing. I don't see it that way because, one, when things slow down, a lot of times the word of mouth and referral slow down, and you're kind of at the whim of something that's unpredictable. I've talked about that a lot across a lot of our podcasts and different YouTube videos, so I won't go down that rant for now. The other big thing is that if you're only budgeting 1% or less than 1%, you've got to look at your net profit for your business. And if it's basically right where you want it to be or not quite there, then this is a huge red flag, and it means you're not charging enough and your margins aren't strong enough that you actually can allocate 3 to 5% for marketing or 8 to 12 depending on what bucket you're in. So if you're a remodeling business, you're charging you're budgeting 0.5% for marketing, then and you're say 5% net profit, that's not good. That means you actually, if you were to spend another 4% on marketing and be where you should be, kind of right in the middle of that range, then you're pretty much at break even. So I really want to start there, and I'm going to walk you guys through an example of how this budget might get spent and where you should be spending these dollars. But I think that's the first place to look is, am I charging enough, and is my marketing budget healthy enough? And you really do want that to be healthy so that you can build a really robust pipeline. So with that being said, let's dive in and talk about where these dollars should go. So kind of a whole slew of things. One, your website. They should be going to the website, social media, SEO, email marketing, apparel, trucks wraps, van wraps, those types of things, signage. If you do any events, this would include client gifts. If you do any education, and then of course software, if you've got marketing software or even a CRM, something like that. So there's a whole slew of items that go under this. The other thing is either salary or part of a salary. If you've got maybe an office manager that's spending some time on marketing, or maybe you have a full-time marketing person, or maybe you've hired an agency or some freelancers. So people that are shooting photos and videos for you, like all of those things go into the marketing budget. So as you just go down that list and you're going, gosh, I'm only spending, 0.5% or 1%, that really doesn't take you that far. And so you do need to be pushing up into that 3 to 5% range. And if that doesn't work for your business model, again, make sure you're looking at your margins and you're improving those and you're charging the right amount for your projects so that you can factor in marketing. Let's look at how an example would break down, and we'll just use the example of maybe a remodeler at 1.5 million in sales, and you're trying to get to 2 million in sales. So this brings us to another important point, which is you need to be basing the percentage on the revenue that you want to be at. So a lot of people will say, hey, I'm at 1.5 trying to go to 2, so I'm going to take 1.5 and I'm going to do 3 or 4% of that. Well, that should get you another 1.5 the next year. And so you really need to be saying, okay, I need to spend 4% of 2 million if that's where I'm trying to get to, so I can sustain those levels. So I think that's another good way to think about it, is how fast are you trying to grow and in what time frame, and maybe you need to bump that budget up based on that goal instead of where you're currently at today. All right, so let's use that same example, and so we'll take 2 million and we'll just split the difference. We'll go 4%, so we're right in the middle of that 3 to 5% range. So first you got your website, and so maybe you got $1,000 there, and that would be for like hosting and the maintenance of the website. Then we've got website marketing. So this is actually the performance of the website. So this is going to be content for the website, SEO, social media, those types of things. Could be video marketing. So this is where a big chunk of that. So we've got 4% of 2 million is 80,000. So we've got 1,000 for the website. Now we've got 40,000 in this bucket. That covers a wide range of activities related to the website. Then we've got software. Software is things like a marketing tool like HubSpot or an email tool. You've got a CRM, those types of things. Figure about $5,000 for those expenses. Then you've got branded apparel. So throw in 1,000 for that, over the course of the year. That's, less than $100 a month. Then you've got truck wraps and signage. So you've maybe got $5,000 there. And that's going to cover, rewrapping every 5 to 7 years. And then signs. You want to make sure you have good signage on job sites where you want to be working in those types of areas. And then we've got client gifts, a couple grand, events, 10 grand. That's another big bucket. And again, this is a sample. So if you're like, I don't do any events, then you've got 10 grand to reallocate somewhere else. And then you've got advertising, $12,000. So that could be something like Facebook ads, Google ads, or maybe you're still in some print magazines. I know a lot of you are in some high-end magazines that are full of your target audience. I think print is kind of on its way out, but again, if it's working for you, I'll never tell you to stop doing it. But figure about $1,000 a month for ads, and then I put $4,000 in kind of an other miscellaneous bucket to be reallocated. So that would be a sample breakdown of somebody going from 1.5 to 2 million, and you've got 4% budgeted for marketing. About half of it going into website and digital. Some in a bigger chunk into technology, and then a big chunk into ads, and a big chunk into events, and then you've got kind of some of those smaller things to fill the gaps. So as you go down that list and you start allocating dollars, modify that for what you've done or what you're currently doing, and see where that shakes out. What are your big buckets? Where are your big percentages of marketing spend, and are you getting a return on those buckets? Because if you're not, it might be a good time to say shift some dollars and move them somewhere else that could be more productive. And so that's why it's really important to track your marketing, but also track the dollars of each individual effort so that you can go, oh, okay, I got this many leads from this effort, and that turned into X number of projects for a total of 200 grand. What did I spend on those activities to produce the 200 grand? What were my margins? And this is really where you get into the details of it. So hopefully this really helps in terms of figuring out what should I be spending on marketing in terms of a percentage, of terms of my goals and where I'm going, and then a sample breakdown of that activity. Again, you'll have to modify this for your specific company as well as the specific activities that you're doing, but I hope this gives you a good framework to work within. All right, guys, see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.